I just wrapped up the last 2 episodes of Dispatch, and man did it end with a bang.
Keep up.
Interesting narrative decision to have Robert fail to save the city, fuck up every hacking minigame possible, and completely fumble Invisigal's redemption arc, but you know, expectations subverted, I guess. Alright, in all seriousness, I really found the finale of Dispatch very satisfying, despite having made almost every wrong decision in the end. How did I manage to do that? Well, here's a quick recap of my choices. I chose Sonar, obviously, said I would kill Shroud, didn't trust Invisigal, and was correct not to, and ended up watching her stab the main villain in the throat, and maybe replace him? If you haven't seen my thoughts on the first 2 episodes, check that out here. This is a full spoiler review of Dispatch Season 1. So first, yeah, they didn't drop the ball. I really enjoyed the whole season and ended up having almost all of my previous issues addressed as the story went forward. It's like they read my damn mind. The gameplay took on a much larger portion of the game time. The decisions began to matter more and more as your choices branch and beget more branches and more branches and more branches. I only have a few minor points to talk about when it comes to criticism, but we'll get to those as they come up. First, probably the biggest decision in the game. Nice blonde girl or manic pixie thief no good traitor girl? What a tough decision, let me think. Or I guess you can go down the path of like celibacy. How disciplined of you, I guess. I do joke, because this decision was tough. I ended up going with Blazer, though I do think the story would have preferred if I was a little less loyal. It's pretty funny, because there were times where the game was trying to guilt me for shit I just didn't do. Like, I didn't kiss her back! Fucking knock it off! I swear I'm a good boy! So it didn't feel like my decisions ultimately led to, like, the most dramatic story possible. The story ends up revolving a lot more around Invisigal than it does Blazer, so while I wasn't questioning my choice, except for a second where I suspected Blazer to be Shroud, but I was also suspecting this Waterboy guy to be Shroud, and I also suspected my dead father. Have you met him? His name's Omni-Man. Fucking everybody was a suspect, so that's not saying much. But I do wish we spent more time with Blonde Blazer, because as is, the most time we spend with her is just in that first episode. After that, we see her, but mostly just at work, minus one little date, which... oh, here we go. She's gonna take off her thing and be some kind of alien slime goo monster or something awful, and at last
Got a thing for brunettes.
I've been reading poetry lately.
I regret nothing. My Robert had much more of a mentor-mentee relationship with Invisigal. Whenever she would try to make things romantic or sexual, it just kind of felt like lashing out. It didn't feel authentic, you know? When it was revealed that she not only stole the power source, flux capacitor, what's it called? Alpha flight? Astral Pulse. But also she was a double agent for Shroud. It's like, Jesus, how many breaks am I supposed to give this chick? Why? Because we see her naked, we're supposed to forgive all this shit? I mean, fucking... fair. For me, our relationship, mentor or otherwise, with Invisigal was done the second she alerted that pissing guy we were sneaking up behind him. That's like, oh, you were trying to kill me right there. You would have benefited if I was dead. Right on. So of course I kept her tied up. You heard Royd? I'm sorry, if you're pitting anyone, Invisigal, Blazer, whoever, against my boy Royd, you're gonna lose 10 times out of 10. Fist bump. I'm surprised we didn't get more OG Mecha Man. One of the first notes that the series starts out on is hinting at Robert and his dad's relationship. But honestly, I'm glad it didn't take over the story. It became much more about bonding with your team. The story is really something special. Standouts are the bar fight episode and, of course, the finale. That being said, I felt pretty good about all my decisions. You know, there was a really cool big fight, everything wrapped up pretty decently story-wise, until I got to the credits. You and 14% of players didn't save the city. Oh. You played better than 15% of people. Oh, that doesn't sound very good. You let Invisigal stab the antagonist, failing to either get your revenge or redeem her in a satisfying way. Well, shit, game! I thought the story was going in an interesting and subversive direction. Now I feel like I fucked up a lot of stuff. I was pleasantly surprised by how well integrated the branching decisions ended up being. I thought after you have the choice to kick Sonar off the team, he would be sidelined and only pop up in like little cutaways here and there, but no. Especially in episode 8, there's a whole separate boss fight you have with whoever you kicked off the team. That's a lot of effort on the part of Ad Hoc, and that's something I'm kind of looking for here when it comes to these branching decisions, and something it feels like Telltale would rarely do. As far as criticisms go, mine are all pretty minor. I did have one pretty funny Telltale style issue with the captions, where instead of saying whatever the line was, I got some kind of line of code saying like text style, font, caption type, some weird text, which was pretty funny and only there for like a second, so not a big deal. More substantially, I did find myself missing QuickTime events in like the middle chunk of the season. I remember specifically it came to me during like a flashback fight with Flambe. There was a whole big action scene where you're in the Mecha Man suit again because it's a flashback, and I would have liked to have felt like that was a more interactive moment than just a cutscene. I think the premiere and the finale did this really well, and barring a few standout moments, they were pretty absent for most of the season. I like to play games because I like the interaction, even if it is small. One moment where they use this to great effect is during this big bar fight scene in episode, I think 5 or 6, where they transition you from past to present not only visually, but with a flick of your thumb, going from things things like ripping open a ketchup packet to ripping a guy's ear off. It's small but effective in immersing me in the fight. I wish there was more of this. Another thing is that there are sometimes where you feel like the game is amping you up for a choice that you don't have. There was a moment in the final episode where Robert is sneaking up on a guy with like a dinky little taser, and he glances over and sees a gun on the ground. Why would I not go for the gun? But it doesn't give you that option. Instead, Robert chooses to acknowledge the useful weapon's existence and then goes on about his day normally with his dinky little taser. So moments like that take me out of it for a second, but there's not much you can do about that. I want to take some time to say that Ad Hoc has created such a likable cast of characters here. They all have such specific personalities and dynamics that as the season goes on, you do feel like you're getting to know them a bit more. You know, they're not just chess pieces on a board for you to play with, they feel like dynamic and evolving characters. Like, there's this great detail that for Robert's house party, every character brings a lamp as a gift, and if you pay attention, each lamp is specific to that character's personality. Like, Waterboy brings a lava lamp, Punch Up brings like a tiny little desk lamp. Little details like that that don't get called out or draw attention to themselves just show that this game was a true labor of love. I wish we spent more time with each of them one-on-one, and I'd look forward to delving more into their deals individually in Season 2. I also like that there wasn't a clear and obvious, like, quote-unquote bad ending, at least to my knowledge. Just kind of bittersweet in different ways. I mean, if there was a bad ending, it's definitely the one I got, but even so, it felt pretty satisfying, you know? I think making it a story about connecting with this team and including either a redemption for Invisigal or having her be your big failure going into the next season both work. Like, I still think my ending sets up for more story very nicely, giving Robert a chip on his shoulder without being this all-powerful, squeaky clean paragon of a human. You know, just look at him. He's clearly imperfect, and I prefer him that way. Oh, I assumed he got that ear from a superhero fight. I guess he was just born with a bite taken out of his ear. So, despite my best efforts to derail the drama and intention of the story, Dispatch gave me a very satisfying and fulfilling conclusion, in my opinion, and a very cool and fun interactive story. I look forward to playing this again and seeing all the different permutations and paths your decisions can lead you down. Maybe I'll try a run where Robert doesn't completely suck at his job and all the characters don't have to warm up to him out of pity. Hey, that would be an interesting take, you know? Of course, this begs the question of how Season 2 will pick up where this season left off, depending on your ending here, since it seems like they vary pretty wildly. I think the Walking Dead game did this about as well as you could, and I trust that Ad Hoc will find a happy medium to make your choices feel impactful without developing like 5 completely different seasons depending on how your Season 1 went. So coming to the end of the season, I just want more. I'm really glad I followed this game as it came out. I would absolutely recommend that you give it a try and download it for yourself rather than just watching it online. Let me know if there are any other games in this style that are currently coming out. What's your favorite Telltale style game? I've heard a lot about like The Wolf Among Us but never played it. The Batman one I think I played 1 episode of and really liked it. So overall, Dispatch is right up there with like Season 1 of The Walking Dead for me. I do think The Walking Dead edges it out a little bit just because of how new that format was to me at the time. Plus, yeah, all the emotions involved with Walking Dead will always be with me. But I do love our Z team for all of their flaws, and I hope to see more of them soon. Check out my other Dispatch video if you haven't already, watch my other things, and subscribe if you weren't offended by the sound of my voice. Thanks, and see ya. Also, I look forward to the twist in Season 2 where Robert's dad is revealed to be a Viltrumite. I do not trust that mustache, I'm telling you.